Hey there, I want to have a chat to you today about the dictionary field type within Statamic. Now, this is a field type that you're able to use in your blueprints within the control panel, but what I think is really cool is that you can also use it in your blueprints for your front-end forms, and that's what I want to have a bit more of a chat about today, as well as how we can make our own dictionary for something a little bit more, I guess with more live data or more dynamic data. That's the word I'm looking for. So if you've never seen the dictionary field type before, let's check that out first. So what we're going to do is within our blueprints, we'll just create a new blueprint for our pages collection. We're just going to call it dictionary. We create a field. It's just one of our field types. We can search for dictionary and add it to our blueprint. Now we've got our standard common fields, but then it's where we get a little bit more interesting. We can pick what dictionary we want to use, and Statamic comes with these ones out of the box. So we could have a list of countries or a list of currencies, even a list of time zones. If you're having an app that has an area where users can pick their own time zone, it's great that we can get that dictionary straight away without needing to recreate it. But let's just check out countries. We can filter by region, so we could say, I only want to see the polar regions, or I only want to see Asia. Let's just show everything for now. Do we want to show emojis? Yes, we do. And these filter options can change based on the dictionary as well. So if you're making your own dictionary, you can change how you want to group and filter your data too. The last thing we'll do is we will just say we want one item. Let's just go and save that. Jump over to our pages collection, and we're going to create and pick dictionary. There we go. We have this drop-down field. This is a list of countries that Statamic is providing for us. We can search for it and select our country. There we go. How cool is that? I haven't had to make a list of countries. It's just they're part of Statamic core. So you can use those dictionaries right now within your blueprints within the CP, but you can also use them on your front-end forms too. So let's check that out. If we go back over to our blueprints and check out our dictionary example, what we want to do is create a new field. So this is for our form. Again, search for dictionary. We'll just call it dictionary field, and we will pick countries and max items of 1. Let's just save this, and we're going to go over to our front end. Okay, so I will let you know I've done a little bit of homework before starting this video. I have published the form fields, so I've done some styling on them so that they look a little bit better than just blank. And I've also created an email markdown file. So we're going to be looking at that as we go. But if we put in a name, and we can then say, let's go to Antarctica. There we go. And submit our form. Let's see what we've got. We've got me. That's Marty. And you've got dictionary field ATA. Well, that's the short code for Antarctica. So that's the value that we've actually got for the country field type that we're looking at here. So if we were to pick, say, Australia, that should be then AUS. There we go, dictionary field AUS. So suddenly we now have this dictionary field type that is showing more complex data that Statamic's providing for us that our users on the front end are able to select. So that's just the start of it. But the really fun stuff is that you can make your own dictionaries, and that's what we want to have a bit more of a play with. So first things first, read the docs. Okay, if we jump over to the docs and go to field types and go to dictionaries, this is where you'll find all of the information about how the dictionaries work. There's information about the different options and how you can search, how your items exist within the dictionary as well. But you know what? Let's just go and make our own dictionary. And as always, we just need to say please. PHP please make dictionary. So let's get going. PHP please make dictionary. Okay, we're going to call this entries. There we go. Bang. If we go to our app folder, go to dictionaries, we now have this entries file that it's created for us. Now we've got a couple of keys that we're able to change. We can change the key within the array of items that we have for the value and for the label. So the way that it's done it for us now is using the abr for the value and the name for the key, for the label, sorry. If we just jump over to our basic dictionary, let's just go and check that out. You can see that our value key is value and our label key is label. So out of the box, if you get rid of those, value and label are what you'll be able to do. But at the moment, we've got ABRA, so abbreviation, and name. So you can see we have name, we've got abbreviation. You could even say, if you wanted it to be capital, if you want to pick the capital city instead of the particular state. But what we're going to do, just to make this nice and easy, let's get rid of that. And I just want to hard code something just so we can see what's going on. So we want our label to be my label, and we want value to be value. It's just going to be a really, really simple dictionary to start with. Let's jump back over to Statamic. And what we're going to do is we will update our dictionary. And instead of countries, we want to use entries. That's the one that we've just created. So let's select that. We're going to click Save. And if we jump back over to our form, you can see there we have our label. And because that basic dictionary, the label key is label. That's where we've got our label. And our value key is value, which is where we have value. That's what's going to be sent across within our form submission. So let's just quickly go and do that. Check that out. Dictionary field is value. Easy. With me so far? Okay, so that's a really trivial thing that we can do, but let's talk about how you could use this in the real world, because ultimately that's what's going to be really important. Your dictionary is a great way for you to have a more dynamic data set and something that people don't need to go and update a select field within a blueprint just to add more options. So a couple of examples. If you've got an API that you're interacting with, you could get data and include that within your dictionary. Another one that we've done before is we've needed users to be able to pick an entry from a list. In this particular example, it was job listings. And so we were actually able to query Statamic here to get the job listings and include those within the dictionary. So as new jobs were added, the dictionary updates so the users can then pick from the right fields. So we're going to kind of do something like that at the moment. Okay, so you can see we're expecting an array. We know the shape of what we need. So let's just get going. Okay, we want to load our facade and we want to query. And we want to say where the collection. Now, I'm just going to do pages for this one. That's all we've got in this site at the moment. But if you had, say, a jobs collection, you could then query by that. We want it to only show published. If you're doing multi-site, you could also include the current site. And then we want to get them as well. Now, this is where you could also do some ordering. So if there was any filtering or ordering that you wanted to do, you could deal with that. But we also need to map them. Now, we know this is going to be an entry, so let's give us a little hint here. There we go. And we're going to need to return an array. Rightio. Now, here we've got label and value. So we want to return, and we want to have label. And let's make that be the entry title. And we want our value to be, nice suggestion, but nope, not what we want. We want that to be the ID. Okay, let's get rid of this now. So we're querying our entries. We're looking for the pages collection where they're published. We're getting them, and we're then processing them and returning the label as the title and the ID or the value as the entry's ID, spitting it out as an array. Let's go and check out what that's done. Okay. There we have our 3 different entries. So if we jump back over to collections and just go to pages, you can see home, about the dictionary, read the docs. We got about the dictionary, home, read the docs. Cool. Rightio. So let's just clear array. We're going to select about the dictionary and let's go and check out our form submission. And okay, we now have that ID. That's not ideal, is it? So while the ID is great because it's something that is unique that we can relate back to, so it's really handy for a select field in case there is a collision with a name, but that's not very meaningful for our users. If they're getting this email, that ID doesn't really make a lot of sense. So let's see what we can do about that. Okay, jumping over to, if we go to views and then emails, I've created this really, really basic form submission email just using Markdown. So remember, if you're dealing with addressing your email this way, no indentation. Everything needs to be very linear. So it's not the easiest to read. But what we're doing here is we are looping through all of the fields that our form has. And the reason I like doing that is that it allows the user to add fields to your blueprint, and then your emails will be updated automatically as well. So I know that it may not be the prettiest, or you may want more control. And that's where you can put conditionals, and that's what we're going to look at here in a minute. But it is a very dynamic way to handle things that can change. So, okay, what we want to do, first of all, let's check out what we've got. Now we're looping through each field, and we have this item. So let's just clear array, jump back over, and we're just going to pick a entry. And let's see what we've got. Okay, so we're getting display, so that's what appears to the user. We're getting the handle, we're getting a field type, the config, we're getting the value, and that is one of Statamic's internal value objects, which also links to the field type as well. So this value is actually a smart little thing too. What we can do with a dictionary. Now, we only want to do something if it is actually a dictionary field type. So what we can say is if the item field type is dictionary, we will else that, and we will end if that. Okay, let's just pop that in there for now. So what have I done? I'm using this item. This is what we output, and we can see the field type variable here. Dictionary, field type was text. So this is now only going to apply to this particular item that we're looking at. So we're saying if we are in the dictionary, we are getting this value, which is great, but I actually want to get the label. I don't want to get that ID. It's not particularly user-friendly. So let's just comment out that, clear our form, and go again. About the dictionary. Boom. There we go. We now have the label appearing. So we've suddenly gone from that ID. If we just copy this, paste it underneath, this is going to be the raw value. If we just go through and select different page, you can now see we've got label, and we also have the value. So that was really cool, wasn't it? We now have so much more information rather than this UUID that doesn't mean much. You can now actually have the title. Cool, great start, yeah? But what else? What if we wanted to have more information? This is where we can get a little bit more fun. So let's just delete this for now. And we're going to move this into only if we actually have a dictionary. Now, what we want to try and do, we need to know what we've actually selected so we can figure out what we can do with it. Now, as you saw in that array before when we were outputting it, we have the config, we know what field type it is. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to create this dictionary item, and it's going to be the item value. We know that's got a field type. And because we already know it's a dictionary, we're going to have this dictionary method, and we can then call get. And we want to get the value, and we want to get only the raw part. Okay, let's check this out. Let's output that, clear our screen, and check it out. About the dictionary, submit form. There we go. We're now getting this dictionary item. You can see there's our UUID, so our value. And we also have this extra array where we have label and value. So that's where it knows where the label is coming from. But we've only got two properties at the moment. What if we wanted to add more information? So this is where we can have a little bit more fun too. Let's jump over to our entries dictionary. But before we actually do that, let's go back over to look at our pages blueprint. We've got this author. That could be useful to include. I actually don't know why, but hey, let's add our author. This is going to be linking to the users, so we can pick a user from the system. Rightio. So what we want to do is add author, entry, author, and let's just say it's an optional field, so we only want to include the name if they actually exist. Otherwise, let's just output an empty string. Beautiful. Let's see what this is going to do. Let's clear our screen. About submit, and we have this extra array, and we now have the author's name available to us as well. Yeah, how cool is that? Now, we can't just jump over to our markdown file and say, oh, get me the author, because the value has no idea what author actually is. But what we can do is we have this dictionary item, and we know this is going to have this extra method. If we then just output this, what are we going to get? We get a simple array, and a simple array means we can then just access that data. So let's just get you out of there. And we're going to say the author is dictionary item extra, and we want to output the author. Okay, clear our screen. Let's do this again. There we go. Author, Michael Scruce. Home. Author, Marty Friedel. We now have this additional information coming through. So within our dictionary, which is incredibly simple of just querying Statamic, mapping our entries, you could even include a link to the entry if it was, say, a page on the site and you want to give someone a button that they can click on. You could include all of that information. If you're dealing with an API, you could then include that API. You could handle the caching of it so that your dictionary remains nice and performant, and allow people to pick from the list of data that you want them to select. You can then use that really, really easily just by working through and saying, okay, well, if it's a dictionary field type, I need to handle and process this in a slightly different way. You get the item. From that extra function, you're able to get the array of all the properties that are available for you. And you can start making your own dictionaries that can be dynamic and live. So in that job listings example, as a new job listing gets added, the dictionary gets updated automatically and users can pick that from the list. Similarly, if you take one off, the dictionary gets updated, it disappears. So it makes it suddenly a really dynamic way to have data that stays up to date without needing to manually change it in the blueprint every time. So dictionaries are not just for the CP, they are also for the front end. Working with the emails is probably the most complicated part of that process, but definitely something you can work around to make your emails be meaningful for your user as well. So first of all, remember, go and check the docs. Read the docs, see what the dictionary can do for you, how you want to customize that to suit your needs too, and then get using it within the control panel, get using it within the CP. And such an incredibly little powerful field type. Love a dictionary. So I hope you found this useful. If you've got any queries, please feel free to reach out and look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks.